that, we would focus completely on examples. Maybe it's like, you have a 2 hour class of which maybe half an hour would be a little concept. After that, we would start to do examples. What I would recommend is you please bring in your horoscopes. You don't have to name the individual. Just you would say the date of birth, the time, and the place, and the gender of the person. And please bring in horoscopes who are at least 40, 45 years of age. We are not going to use them for prediction, but to cross check, okay, whatever we have learned has already happened or not. So what we would do is we would, let's suppose something, some signification we have learned about the nakshatras. So if we say that, look, this person is unmarried, it means that he is unmarried, or this person had such a job or something. Okay, maybe like Aslesha is towards the petroleum job or the banking job, etc. Right? So the person, I mean, do not bring in kids' horoscopes wherein there are like 17-year, 20-year-old. Because if we learn prediction from it, then what happens is you have to wait for another 5 years or 6 years for that prediction to come through. Instead, always bring little older people's horoscopes. Okay, let's start today's class. Uh, we have uh, we have done Mula, right? This is Purvashada. Purvashada, if we see uh, Purva Ashadha, okay, this is how the nakshatra's name is. So we have uh, meanings for Ashadha, we have meanings for Purva. So everybody knows Purva is prior to something, Uttara is after something. Similarly, so Purva, all Purva nakshatras uh, you know, are nakshatras that make the person work. Okay, so they may seem like they are difficult nakshatras like Ugra or fierce, but the advantage with these nakshatras is that these nakshatras will push the native too much to achieve something in life. Okay, so do not think having an Ugra in the kind mentioned here as Ugra does not mean that the the significations or the results that come out from this nakshatra are bad. No, it's not like that. All the nakshatras 27 are equally bad and equally good. Okay, no nakshatra is, I mean, you cannot name one nakshatra which has only positive things. Okay, all of them will have some or the other negative trait around it and a lot of positive traits as well. Okay. Uh, the nakshatra Purvashadha is called as the first invincible one. So as we went across the story, or as we dealt the story of Kshira Sagara Mathana, the Samudra Manthana in the last class of Mula, okay, because we said Jeshtha was ruled by Indra and Mula is ruled by the Rakshasas. So there is a Mandhara Parvata in between, and they were churning the ocean. This is the theme at the juncture of uh, the Mula and the Jeshtha. This is what we have learned in the last class. So as an extension to it, once the churning happened, okay, and at last, who won were the Devas because they have cheated these people. The Rakshasas were cheated, and the Devas have won. Okay. Now, I make a humble request here. So we have to study it from the viewpoint of the Maharshis, and do not think that Devas cannot be questioned or anything like that. In our sanskar, or in our what is right for in our dharma, we can always question the devas. Okay, we have that liberty to do so. So all of these formful devas like the Shiva, the Vishnu, the Indra, the Brahma, everybody would have positive and the negative side of it. Okay, because they are having a form. Only the formless Parabrahma is completely Nirakara or Nirguna and all. So these people are sagunas. Okay. So sagunas would mean having some guna, not meaning sattva guna. Sattva guna is different and saguna is different. Anyway, so what we understand is the people uh, who have won the war or who have made some success in life is the Ashadha. Okay. For anybody to be successful, okay, somebody has to deploy means so that they win over. So always a winning would mean that you are not allowing the other person to win. Okay, that has been the winning kind of a thing. Because if you wage a war, there's only one side that can win. Okay, in modern times, when you're doing business, right, everybody does some or the other work. We get to hear a term called as win-win, right? Everybody knows this term called as a win-win. All businesses are win-win. You know why? Because the customer who buys the product would win. Paying you're selling some product. The customer would think that this is a win for me because it's trying to solve my problem, right? And the person who is selling it, the seller, is also a win for him because he is manufacturing. The cost of goods for him is X and the cost of sale is Y. He gets a profit of Y minus X. So a win-win situation happens only in business. But in case of war, there is no win-win there. One side has to win, the other side has to lose. Okay. Sagittarius is a Rashi which has got, what is the symbol of Sagittarius? It has got Dhanas in it. Dhanas means the bow and the arrow, like an archer. In olden days, people were, when they did not have the bullets or the guns, they were using archery to defeat people, right? So, in this kind of a situation, so what does Sagittarius suggest? Sagittarius is a sign which provokes war. Okay. So, do not think that Sagittarius is a great sign to have. Sagittarius sign is a war provoking sign. Okay, when the Jupiter and the Saturn have crossed uh, these two planets have crossed Sagittarius, that is when we have had the most turmoil. Either you can take the Corona followed by all these wars, right? Provoking of the war happens whenever big planets cross through this Sagittarius. I mean, why I'm giving you this background is a lot of people think that Sagittarius is a Jupiterian sign, so it must be excellent. Yes, it is excellent if you make use of the significations of that rasi. In that rasi, again, you have three nakshatras, of which the first one we dealt with, that is Mula. The second now is Purvashada. All these are war, okay? Because in the Mula, the Rakshasas were waging war against the Jeshta or the Indra. Now in Purvashada, the win has come. When would a success or a victory would come? Only after waging a war. Okay. So how do we use it? I'll tell you all that. Okay. My humble request to all of you is you always have to go back into the lecture in the YouTube, read it at least twice, thrice, or four times. That is when you will have a hold of what exactly the significations of each star is. So do not leave it just like that. These are like butterflies. They'll just fly off your brains after the class is over, maybe after 3 weeks or 4 weeks, if we don't practice or don't get to hear or make them, unless we see enough examples of these stars, how they are working, it's too difficult. Okay. I mean, just in case you're interested to learn astrology, it's not an easy thing. It's too difficult. But you have to remember all these significations. Once you remember all this, you are the master. Okay. What I can promise is at the end of these 27 nakshatras, right? When you master these nakshatra significations, I think the kind of predictions you can make, nobody else can make. That much I can assure. And when you couple them up with the divisional charts, then you are the hero. There is no Brahma Vidya in this. Okay, it's a very straightforward logic and straightforward significations. Okay, now you have the deity is Ganga. Okay, or the rivers, the water, Ganesha, Vyasa, Dattatreya, Bhishma, and Varuni. Of all these, the deity's name is called as Apam. Okay, Apam or Apas. Okay, Apas is a word in Sanskrit for water. Okay, what is this earth comprised of? The earth is comprised of 70% of water and just 30% of land. Everybody knows this. How is the human body? It's just the same. Okay, maybe a 2% here and there, people would agree. Somebody would say 68%, 32%, 72%, 28%. Don't go into the details of it. However, approximately 30% is solid and 70% is water. That everybody has agreed. Despite the fact that Earth is 70% water, we would still call it Earth, which actually is only 30% of it. Okay. So that's the beauty of this nakshatra. So this, what I mean to say is, take a little lemon and some salt, put it in the water, lemon juice and salt. What would you call it? You would call it lemon juice, right? The water is not used anymore. You mix something into it, the water becomes that, and the name of water is lost, and it is called as some drink, but not the water in any of the language. So water acts just like Swati, right? Swati, you have wind or the air, which is like a background artist or somebody who can support something. We have similar traits here, but water is visible to the eyes. The only difference that Swati uh, and Purvashada is water is visible to eyes, whereas the air is not visible to eyes or the wind is not visible, right? So it's completely a background artist. However, water is something that can bring in floods, and you take any of the what do you call that, religious texts, which are either of the Jews or the Bible or the Torah or the Hinduism or anything. How would the end come? How would the end of world come if anybody is asked? Then they would say there is a water thing that comes up and everything is flooded. There is a boat, and in the boat, the people would be saved. A few people would be saved. That's how the end of world would come. Okay. I don't look at messages. You don't have to send anyway. You're in the class, so it's a free class. All right. So anybody has any question or something, you can always interrupt me and ask me a question. Please don't send messages. I'm not reading any of them. It's a disturbance to the class. Please don't send any of them. Every signification will be covered of the nakshatra. So just be patient. Okay. So my point here is, so water can bring in a huge flood and completely inundate the area where we are living, and making the living difficult, or water is completely useful for your living itself. Unless you drink water regularly, you would be dehydrated, and for sure you would die. Okay. The only difference between Swati and Purvashada, or for that matter, water and air is constantly needed. So in less than a minute of time, if you don't have air, you would die, or maybe less than 3 minutes, you would die. Whereas in case of water, it's not like that. Maybe it will take about a day's time for you to actually completely dehydrate based on how dehydrated and what kind of environment you're living in. So water is something which is trying to help you for the life. So let's look at the deity. The deity is Apaha or Apas. Okay, that's the cosmic water. At one point in time, there was no water on the earth. Everything came from the space. Actually, there was no earth itself. Everything came from the space or nothing. So the space is called as nothingness in Sanskrit, or the shunya. Okay, so everything came from there. The symbols are elephant's tusk. Okay, elephant's tusk, a winnowing basket. Okay, and a hand fan. These three are the symbols. So if you see the elephant's tusk, is the more the larger the tusks are, the bigger is the leadership qualities of the person. Okay, so in elephant, what happens is the group of elephants are there. The larger tusks one would become the leader of the pack. Okay, and tusks would also mean some dental problems. And the elephant tusk, one of those tusks of Ganesha, was plucked out by himself, and he started writing the Mahabharata, the Panchama Veda. So excellent oratory skills, excellent writing skills. So somebody who has a very good command of the language that he's speaking or writing can be, categorized or put into this nakshatra of the Purvashada. Okay. And elephants are rich beings. So there are a lot of sayings in different languages because if an elephant is dead, what happens is you can make use of its tusks and earn money. As long as the elephants are alive, you can ask the elephant to do a lot of work. When there were not enough vehicles or cranes or stuff like that, elephants used to carry huge loads of weight on them, and they were used also in the wars or to transport something, etc., etc. Okay, so they can do a lot of work for you. So either the elephant is alive or dead. The advantage is, it can make money for you. So these nakshatras, like the Ugra nakshatras that I usually talk about, are the Purvas, like the Purva Ashadha, Purva Bhadra, or the Purva Phalguni. All three are fierce and Ugra, but they're very useful for material prosperity because the person is trying to actually achieve something or win over something. If he has problems, Purva people are more focused, and they have a lot of hope over things that they can make use of the time, and all that they need to do is to have a commitment for hard work. So hard work wins is the slogan that the Purva Nakshatras follow, of which the one which is in the middle, which is the Purva Ashadha, they are very much to it. Okay, they do a lot of hard work. A winnowing basket, right? What do you do with the winnowing basket? It's pretty common in the South India to actually. I'm not very sure. I've not seen in the villages of the north because I haven't been to villages of the North India. I don't know much. Maybe somebody can comment over. This is used for, we get rice. In the olden days, what happened, what it used to be like, it had a lot of dust or something in it. So, what do you call it? You actually you actually sieve out the dust out of it using this basket. Okay. So what does this show or what does this signify is the native is trying to remove out all the dust because what does water do? What does water do? You drink water, it goes into your intestine and then it goes into your kidneys. It helps in purification of your blood, and whatever excrete that is there is helped by the water. So you get the urine and you also get the excrete. So unless water is there, you cannot remove toxins from your body. So uh, whatever bad people are there in the life, Purvashada keeps leaving them and keeps going forward. Hand fan can be used for two things. One is if you've done any homa or a yajna, what happens is you can flare it up. When you want more flare, what would you do? You take a hand fan and actually flare up the fire. Okay. And when you are very tired and there is no power in the room, what would you do? You use the hand fan to actually fan you up. Okay. It can do both cooling and it can do both cooling and flaring up. So the kind of energy that you would have in Purvashada is enormous. So somebody can be very aggressive. He would actually cool him down himself using the fan. And if let's suppose somebody is very cool, he can fan himself so that he can flare up his own self to do some work. These are all useful for use, doing some work. And let's suppose there's a competition, right? People use the competitive exams. People write a lot of them, and they want to be successful. If you have a very good Purvashada, it means that you're trying to win over in the competition, and you can secure a seat or something like that. That is useful for it. Okay. All right. So it does not mean, I'm not trying to say that you have your fifth lord or sixth lord, only then you would win in a competition. No, I do not mean to say that. You may still not have any planets in the Purva Shada, but still you can stand first in any of those competitive exams. But um, as we do some examples, we will get into those things. However, Purva Shada is very much useful for winning over competition. Purva Shada and Uttara Shada. Okay. And facing or looking towards downwards. We've talked enough of this. What does downwards would mean? Please go back and listen to the previous nakshatras. Number of stars are 5. I'm also not talking on this. We've dealt with this in the previous nakshatras. So the nickname is the first invincible one, the one who is very invincible. He cannot be won over, right? If there is water, right, there is flood. You must have seen a lot of floods in the recent times. Just imagine the kind of pressure the water would have, and nothing can stop it, right? Recently in Andhra Pradesh, there was a huge flood, and a lot of areas are inundated, and the flood did not recede for a long time. Just imagine the kind of life those people must have had in those times. Okay, because water cannot, I mean, you cannot stand against water. That is the most powerful one. Okay, so this people who would represent Purvashada are very, very proud, and you cannot win over them in an argument. Okay, because their point always lies on talking. They can talk very well. You know why they can talk very well is because they're exactly opposite the sign of Mercury. Sagittarius is opposite to the sign of Gemini, so they're very good at talking. And and also the deity here is Ganga. We will also talk about her. She cannot be defeated. Then is his strength. The foundation above is strength, because water is the most strongest element. Okay, you take fire, right? Fire can be put off by water, but water cannot be put off using fire. Okay, you have to carefully understand this. When two things meet, fire and water, the fire is always put off. Water would still be there. Okay, so water is the most powerful thing which is visible. And in all of the 5 elements, what is most powerful? That is the wind. So Swati is the most powerful, then is the water. But Swati, the disadvantage with Swati is it's not visible. It always stays behind the screen like the Hanuma. Whereas the Purvashada people always come forward. Okay, they are leading from the front. Swati is always leading from the back or leading from the behind, or whatever language you want to use there. Okay, the Shakti is Varcha Grahana Shakti. So, what do we do with the water when we are tired? When we get back home, the first thing our moms or wife would do is hand us a glass of water the moment we come back from work. So, we would drink that water. We would be, energized. We would feel a lot, calm, peace, because water is the thing that would give you peace, right? Because you are very aggravated. What happens is people would advise you to calm down, sit, and then drink water, right? So usually in olden days, about 50, 60 years ago, water is always asked to be, drunk while sitting. You cannot stand and drink water. You're doing apachar. What is the right word in English for apachar? So you're doing something wrong to the water. I'm sorry, I get too confused with the little vocabulary of English. You have to make up for it. So apachar, I would believe, is this across a lot of languages. So final desire is to gain the sea upon wishing for it. All the water, okay, that is available on the earth is all. The fresh water is all from the rivers. Everybody knows that. Fresh water comes from the rivers, and uh, all this fresh water would actually finally go into the sea. And what are we doing? We are trying to build dams against it, and we are trying to make use of the water, right? And whatever excess water is there, that is always left into the sea. So if we don't build anything, or even if we have built something, a lot of water still goes into the sea. Okay, so any water body would always want to meet sea. This is the ocean. Okay, this is the primordial objective of this. So what does the water do there after meeting the sea? It would talk to all its relatives, like Ganga would meet Godavari, Godavari would meet Krishna. They all would have a roundtable conference there and keep talking about what happened also their way while they were flowing, what they all saw, and they all talk about their experience. This is what the Vishwadevas did. Vishwadevas means the Devatas who waged a war against the Rakshasas, and including the Indra. So when they won the war and they were celebrating, they were talking to each other. Look, now we're pretty happy because we are invincible. We have had the nectar. So let's sit across, talk about the experience all through that we had. These people are very, very fond of doing such things. Meetings. Okay, we'll talk about the mantra first. Apam Purva Shadha Varchaha. Okay, here is the mantra. Apam Purva Shadha Varchaha Parastat Samitir Avastat. Okay, it's a very simple mantra. I don't even think we need any translation for this. However, I have written down the translation here based on what I understood. Okay, there are several translations of this Taittiriya Brahmana available. You're free enough to read everyone's translation. The more you read, the more you're going to get ideas. I have read a lot of translations of this, and I thought this could be working much better for individual horoscopy. Okay, if you're trying to look at something else, not on an individual horoscopy, maybe if you're looking at the mundane thing, then maybe this translation will not work. You have to translate it differently. Okay, the mantra would still remain the same. That's the beauty of these mantras. You're trying to predict when the war is going to end or when there will be the next natural calamity and stuff like that, which I'm not very good at. Okay. My strength has always been the individual horoscopy, and I'm focused only on that, to be very frank with you people. Okay. So apam means the Akasha Ganga. Okay. So there was no Ganga then, the Vedic times. This man called Bhagiratha. Everybody knows this man because the name of Ganga is Bhagirathi, right? Bhagiratha is the person who brought the Akasha Ganga onto the earth. So he had to go through a lot of penance while the Ganga had to be brought down. Okay. So he observed a lot of tapas, and Purvashada is all about his story. The Bhagiratha story is what is all about Purvashada. If you know the story of Bhagiratha, or if you do not know, please just Google it up. You will get a clear understanding of what did Bhagiratha do. Bhagiratha is the ancestor of Lord Sri Rama. So he's from the Surya Vamsha, and you will have a very good understanding of it. I would recommend please read such stories. This is another story from the Bhagavata. You have to read this story. It is important. So the unbiased, right? Water does not see if he is a good man or a bad man, or does he easy rich, easy poor, or anything. Okay, water, if you try to drink, it is going to do the same thing for a rich man or a poor man, the same thing. If flood happens, it is equal. It will drown everyone who does not know swimming. Even if he knows swimming, if the flood is so high, eventually the person will drown, right? And the life is gone. So it is not going to be biased for rich or poor. It is the same. And it cannot be stopped by anything. Okay. So if the water pressure is so high, anything will give away, no matter how much ever a dam or anything, if the water is so much, because the dams or anything will be built in such a way, expecting the amount of water it can hold. If that exceeds, then no dam can actually stop the water. It would immediately blast off everything, whatever comes in its way, and it's going to flood everywhere and trying to kill whatever comes its way. Okay, it will keep flowing. And the other thing is, it always purifies our body. So it will ensure that the person has water. It will purify your kidneys. It will purify everything. And then the next word that we have is Ashadha. Ashadha means a brahmachari. Okay. Ashadha means a brahmachari. So we have two Ashadhas here. One is Purva Ashadha, then the Uttar Ashadha. Purva Ashadha means a person who is before brahmachari. Okay. That means the person is going to stay brahmachari for a long time. There is a delay in marriage. So for a delay in marriage to happen, what houses you have to connect? The first house, the seventh house, the ninth house, sometimes the fifth house, rarely. Most likely the first house, seventh house connections work very well. If the first house and the seventh house are connected, or the seventh house connected to the Purvashada, it means that the person had a delayed marriage. Okay. And the person is not very sure if I covered this in the Telugu class or not, but what I have understood is the person is actually successful in in an early age. Somebody getting settled at a fast age or an early age is a Purvashada. Okay, somebody who's grown richer the early age, or somebody is known to the world because of his early age acts. Like, somebody must be very born in a poor family, right? And by age of 2021, he cracks an IAS or IPS or something, or maybe a simple job where, this boy gets into an office and brings out all these people who are in the poverty, his own family, up to a decent living. Okay, this is Purvashada, settling down on the monetary or the financial side early. That can also be shown. Or a person who has had a delay in marriage. Okay, that can be shown. Or sometimes even settling down is also delayed. So it's not at the right time. The person is settled very very early, or the person has taken a long time for himself to settle down. Both things I have seen. Uh, So the person is very possessive, aggressive, stubborn, and passionate. You get to see passionate people, right? When people are passionate about what they are doing, sometimes these people look like they're stubborn. Okay, so just imagine anybody who is very passionate. I don't want to name people, okay, because that may look little rude. It is good that you assume who is passionate for yourself. Maybe somebody from your close circles. Everybody would have. So he might look possessive because he's passionate, right? He's actually liking what he's doing. So a passionate person would look very possessive, and he's very aggressive, and he's very stubborn because he has a goal in mind to establish himself. That's why these Purva Nakshatras are very good for establishing careers. If your 10th house, 6th house connections have Purva Shada, believe me, you're blessed. Okay, and these are ugras, and nothing comes in their way. Anything comes in their way, it is blasted out. It is actually washed away. It's no more visible because the person is washing away everything and actually going forward. So if he has to deploy a means to cheat or do something against the ethics, even that can be employed very, what is the right word for it? I mean, I cannot say everybody is going to be a cheat or something up here, but if something comes up his way, he may employ some crooked means as well. Okay, but do not actually mention anybody to be rude, or do not do such things, because this is Kali Yuga. So unless you क्या बोलते हैं उसको, अगर घी आती नहीं है तो उंगली टेढ़ी करनी पड़ती है, right? So if the ghee is not coming out of the jar, you have to bend your finger, right? This is the translation for what I said this in Hindi.
उंगली टेढ़ी करना, टेढ़ी उंगली से घी निकलता है, सीधी से नहीं.
That's right. I'm a South Indian, so not much of thing. Thanks for
I'm
correcting.
Delhi, North Indian.
Good, thanks. Yeah, so just be careful do not make belittle anyone by saying that he's a cheater or anything like that, or the native is a spy himself. Okay, or he can hold some secret formulas or codes, or he does something like some non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that where secrecy is involved. Even that is possible. Yeah. And the next one is virtus. Virtus means radiance, somebody who is very bright and shiny, right? And visible by his actions. So this person does work which is very visible, right? So virtue can also mean excrete. So problems with kidneys, problems with constipation, some related to kidneys, urinary tract, or private organs can also come up from here. Okay, and the samiti would mean a group, because everybody knows this. Samiti is a very simple word. Samiti would mean a group for a battle or a sexual union. So Purva Ashadha, the sexual union is a little delayed. Okay. And the native is extremely fertile. Even a delayed marriage will not affect his fertility. The person can produce children even at a late age, because most times the seventh lord connections are here. The marriage is delayed, or after the marriage, the couple may have got separated for a short period of time. Like, when he got married, the person has got some job overseas. So the marriage happened today, maybe 2, 3 months later, the person has got a job somewhere else. He leaves there and the couple are separated. He comes back only after 1 year or 2 years, and that's when the childbirth is. Okay. Or maybe there are some differences in the couple, they got separated for a few years, then they got back once again, and that's when the birth of child is. Okay, so the next thing is making strategies, right? When we have a roundtable conference, assume a samiti wherein a roundtable conference is happening between the Purvashada and other departmental heads in a company, in any organization, because a samiti can happen in an organization. So when all these people are talking together, what they would talk is what happened till date and how are we going to achieve our objectives. So they'll talk about objectives, of that, how much objectives are achieved and what is that they can do in case they have to, achieve the targets. This is what they are focused on. So they are a very good strategists. Okay, strategists, they are very good. Okay. And the negative point, or something that you can immediately identify the person is very haughty. The person is very proud of his own self. Okay. I would not say this is a negative point. This actually helps the person himself, because he's very confident and hopeful. Okay. Because these people are living on hope. If you read the story of Bhagiratha, this person is so hopeful. I mean, when he went for penance, everybody laughed at him and said, "Look, you're going to get Ganga from there onto the from the cosmic ocean. You're going to get Ganga here onto the earth. Is that possible?" He said, "Look, I'm going to try, because nobody tried. Let me try. I would be successful." So this man made the effort, and ultimately he was successful after a long, 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 long time. Okay. And if people have religious backgrounds, etc., at home, people who know the mantra pushpam, there is this mantra pushpam called Yopam Pushpam Veda Pushpavan Prajavan Pasuman Bhavati Chandramava Apam Pushpam. There is a list of slokas which appear as mantra pushpam. So what the translation would mean is everything came out of water. Okay, even the Darwin's theory said the same thing. Everything came out of water, because unless water was there, nothing was possible. So water and atmosphere and little bit of sunlight is what is important for uh, you know any being, for it to come into life. Okay, so water can give life. So if you are very disturbed, or having any problems in life, what would you do? First thing is, or tired, the first thing you do is you have water. Okay. So there is this Bhagiratha Prayatnam. I'm not going to read out the whole stuff and bore you up. I'll give you in 2, 3 lines. So when this Bhagiratha tried to approach Akasha Ganga, the Ganga Devi, and requested her to come down, descend to the earth, Ganga Devi laughed at him and said, "Look, I can descend onto the earth." He made a lot of penance. Before that, he tried to pray to different gods, and ultimately he came up to Ganga. So that took a long time for him. After Ganga, appeared, she said, "Look, I can come, but the only problem is your earth is so small, and I'm literally vigorous. And the moment I try to jump over the earth is going to go off the orbit. And you need a right person to actually catch hold of me. So then Bhagiratha said, okay, let me find a person who can do that. Then he got to know who can hold it. Somebody advised him, please go and pray Lord Shiva. So he prayed Lord Shiva. Then Shiva said, okay, I'll do that. Then Ganga said, who are you? You're such a small man and I am such a very powerful woman. Can you hold me? She made fun of Shiva. Shiva got very angry and he said, okay, you just please flow down into me. So all the Akash Ganga went into the Jatajuta of the Shiva, and Shiva did not leave a drop of Ganga onto the water. Again, Bhagiratha had to pray Shiva and said, look, I pray, I need Ganga for for the holy ashes of my ancestors. That is the reason I'm trying to get Ganga onto the earth. Please leave Ganga now onto the earth. Then Shiva released her onto the earth. When she got released onto the earth, she started flowing with vigorous speed, right? Because it's falling from a huge height of the Himalayas. When it started falling off the Himalayas, whatever came in its way started getting washed off. There is a hermitage or the ashram of a muni or a sage, Jahnu. So even that ashram or the hermitage got washed away. He was very furious and he drank all of the Ganga in just one sip. Again, Bhagiratha had to pray to this man, this sage, Jahnu. Jahnu again released Ganga onto the earth through his ear. So she's called as Jahnavi from then. So Bhagirathi to Ganga to Jahnavi, all these are the names of Ganga. So the understanding of this story would give you that the kind of prayatna or the kind of effort that you have to put in to get the job done is very huge uh, in case of Purvashada. The person does some work, it stops in between, there is a break. Again, he has to apply a lot of pressure onto it, and then he would be able to do some difference. And then again, it stops. Then again, he has to put a lot of pressure, throttle, and then again it restarts. So there are at different stages, there are breaks and stops. So 10th connections can give you a very good job at a very early age, as I said. And after that job has come, maybe after 10, 15 years, the career is very good. And suddenly the career takes a huge dip. And then again, it takes some time for it to regenerate. And this time it is going to go double the height of the previous height. And again, maybe after 10 years or 15 years, there's a huge dip again. Maybe again, it can take off once more. So it's like a sine curve, right? So you have the sine curve thing in this one, but the only thing is the troughs or the rises in the sine curve is like the rise you will get is much higher than the previous one, because the sine curve is like a very symmetric one. Always it's at the same place. It's not like that here. You get a good rise. When the second rise happens, it is better than the previous rise. The third rise happens better than the second rise. Right. So there's another story around Ganga, which is about the Kuru kingdom, the Ganga and the Shantanu. So Ganga Shantanu married to each other. They've got this man called Bhishma. Okay, so Bhishma is the child of Ganga. Everybody knows the whole story of Bhishma. If anybody does not know, I would recommend please go and read it. A lot of information is available. I'll just put two, three things about Bhishma. So this man remained unmarried, okay, and he won all the wars of his life. Nobody could defeat him. So he had a Swachhanda Marana. That means whenever he wanted, he could die. That is how he actually died at last. He kept a very good health. So all these are traits from here. And the important point, the relationship between Ganga and this man Bhishma is like, when Bhishma was born, Ganga had to leave Shantanu because all the seven earlier brothers of, or the elder brothers of Bhishma were drowned in the water. And when Shantanu asked Ganga, why are you drowning everyone? She said, look, the time has come because our agreement or the pact between us is that you should not question me for any of my actions. So what can we understand from here is the natives of Purvashada do not like to be quizzed by anyone about their actions. They do not like to be questioned. Why did you do this? Look, is the intention or the intent behind what you have done, if that is questioned, then they're very furious about it. Okay, so they would always say, look, I have always got very good intentions. So you're asking me a question on the intent. Do I have a bad intent? They are very disturbed with this, and they may break actually the relationship. So intent, okay, and the pact. So there are two things here. One is the intent question, as I said. The second is the pact. So if a marriage happens, there is always a pact between the two people. I mean, the husband and the wife. So if the pact is broken, then there is a separation thing that is involved. So just be careful before promising that, look, you, for the sake of getting married, please do not over promise. Please do not promise something that you cannot keep up. Okay. Just be sure what the other person is asking for, and let those be very practical. And next is and the son is Bhishma. Everybody will be here, so there can be a possibility of not getting married at all. Even that is there. However, when you try to make such predictions, you have to look at the Navamsha chart for the confirmations of whether it is a pact thing, or it's a divorce thing, or if it is a marriage wherein the brahmacharya is the whole thing. Okay, so brahmacharya or the pact or anything, what happens is a couple of more places will also show that this is a pact. Another couple of things can show that this is this can be a brahmacharya yoga. So all that we will discuss, but these are the major themes that will come up. So the moment you see this, you need to understand that, okay, these are all the possibilities that can happen based on the other combinations of the D1 and the right chakra that we use, the divisional chart, like the D9 or the D10, depending on what is right. Okay, we decide or decipher what is the right prediction that we have to make. Coupled with that, we also use the dashas. So the person is winning everything. So anything on the 10th connections or the 11th connections or the 6th connections, these are literally very good. However, if the 6th connections happen and if the 8th connections as well couple up with that, then there can be kidney issues and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. Then we have, as I said, the person is like a learned man. He has good understanding of languages, very good at writing skills, drafting skills, or oratory skills, and may have some dental problems. These are those things that you can look for. Purvashada is the birth star of Mars. Okay, if you see the Purvashada Nakshatra, right, it is in the Sagittarius sign. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Purvashada is water, right? So Mars is is a planet which represents both fire and the water. If you can look at Aries, it's a fire sign. If you look at Scorpio, it's a water sign. There are Jupiter also does the same thing. Jupiter represents fire and water, the same thing. Okay. So what does fire and water would mean is they are religious people. That is what is fire and water would mean. Religious do not necessarily mean that they are interested in the God. Religious would mean the other meaning of religious, doing something religiously. Okay. I mean, doing the way it has to be done is also religious. Varuni can also be the other thing because Varuni means the alcohol. So alcohol issues can be there, and riches. One is riches because Varuni would represent riches and royalty. And it can also show very great marketing skills because, somebody who's preparing brochures, handouts, marketing material, websites, anything that would help the sales team drive their sales is all done by the marketing and communication departments, right? A person of this nakshatra especially can help you with a lot of marketing material that can, sometimes you need in two, three different languages or stuff like that. These people are excellent in managing that stuff. Okay. And Ganga is constantly trying to flow. So the person is not going to stop in his life. He will keep making friends. He'll keep leaving them because Ganga does not stop. It keeps flowing. For that matter, any river will not stop. It will keep flowing. On the way, it gets to see a lot of things. It would see great nature, snow, followed by rocks, then followed by forests, then followed by buildings, then people, then animals, name it, whatever is there on the earth will get to see them, fishes, all of the sea creatures or the water creatures. Everything will be seen by water. However, it is not going to stay there. It's like the train journey, right? We get to see people in the train journey. We will make friends with them, and then say goodbye when we deboard the train. So it's like them for Purvashada. There are no constant friends or constant enemies. Similar to Swati. Swati also has this same characteristic. So these people are more like a neutral thing. They don't get into groups or they dislike groupism at office. They do not belong to a group. Do not think this is a positive trait because sometimes what happens if you do not belong to a group, both groups can plot against you and both groups can bring you down. Okay, so groupism sometimes can be advantageous, sometimes it is disadvantageous. So any of the trait for that matter will actually have both the sides. Okay, these people will get very easily bored at routine work. They don't want to do anything routine because the river keeps flowing. Okay. Any routine work, they will hand it over to a person who can do that routine work and they are looking at something very new every day. Okay. And as I said, no constant friends or foes. And they'll keep adding friends, they'll keep leaving them. Because if they think that this person is going to become a hindrance for me, for my progress that I'm making, he will leave that friend immediately. He will not think of anything else, no relationship, nothing. Okay. And these people are still emotional because it's water, right? They are driven a lot by emotions and their decisions are based on emotion. Their decisions are not based on practicalities because it's all water. So if they like something, they do it even if it is difficult. If they do not like it, even if it is easy, they'll not do it. Okay. So it is based on their liking. That is emotion. So many times there are breaks in work. The native suddenly gets traction in work and suddenly loses the traction. Okay. So sometimes a lot of work happens for him, and sometimes there is nothing that is moving. Okay. Or sometimes the native himself is taking a break. He would think, okay, I've done a lot of work and I need some rest. I'll start it once again. Okay. Usually the native is considered successful at a young age. Okay. However, he's considered headstrong, stubborn, not listening to elders because Ganga did not listen or laughed at Shiva, who is much elder to her or a deity in case of our Sanatana Dharma. Okay. And the native is perceived as genius. This man is a genius because he has a very good strategy that he can lay down to do something, and he's very interested into going into water bodies like swimming pools, waterfalls, swimming into the seas or beaches. Uh, okay, and afflictions to that can bring you hydrophobia. Rarely. Today, these days, hydrophobia is a very rare disease. So for you to pronounce diseases, etc., you need to wait. What I would say is remember all these significations with the use of divisional charts or specific charts, we can get into what exactly is happening. This person would want to help everyone. Okay? There is no bias. Okay. But what he would think is he's always 2 steps ahead of the person who is asking the help. So sometimes maybe people not will not approach him because they think this person is too proud, and I do not want to bow down in front of him. So maybe people may not approach for help. And whoever approaches for help, right, this person immediately pacifies them and he's going to provide the right solution. That is how he is. Extremely good fertility, and there can be issues with kidneys, teeth, urinary tract, private organs, excretion, sperm count, egg release. These issues can be there. These people have huge, tremendous knowledge of making patents. Okay, they can hold secret information which nobody else knows in the companies. Like, somebody can be, if he's a chemical engineer or something, he may be holding some formula, which nobody else in the company will know. He must be a principal scientist, etc., who's designing a lot of chemicals. Or maybe he's holding some non-disclosure agreements, which he cannot disclose to customers, etc. So some secret work is there, or he may be a spy himself. Okay. Getting married late. This is one trait that I have seen. Getting married late, or issues in marriage at very early stages of life. There will be a few fights here and there. There can be a possibility of fights here and there, and in the initial days. And then, uniting once again, or maybe a transfer that can separate them, and maybe they'll unite once again. For any of these to happen, you need to look at the D10 chart for the job thing. For the separation thing, you have to look at the D9 chart. And you have to couple them with the dashas. Without using dashas and without using D9, do not come to a conclusion. These are all the significations that can come up. Okay, the other signification is this is a monkey. It's a male monkey. So you can think of what do monkeys do? Monkeys keep jumping, right? Monkeys keep jumping from one branch to the other. Like the Swati Nakshatra also, we've talked about this. The female monkey. Here it is the male monkey. So this person has huge knowledge of lot of subjects. He'll keep changing subjects from there to here to there to here, and things like that. So, or maybe he has to do 3 or 4 jobs. So sometime here, the other time there, another time elsewhere. Okay, this also is a possibility. And these are tremendously knowledgeable, tremendously capable. Okay, the life has a lot of twists and turns. So a lot of memories, because water always holds memories, right? If you look at the area of the water based on the water in the area, like you take Kurukshetra, a lot of big war has happened. So people are reddish in color. They can fight easily. Or you go to, I mean, and please don't take any offense. Okay, it's only a very generic statement. There will be a lot of people who still live in Kurukshetra or on the other side of the Pakistan, or maybe elsewhere. Usually there is a saying, right, in Indian context, जहाँ का पानी पीते हो आप वैसे बन जाते हो. This is a usual statement. So based on water, based on the air, a lot of things, a lot of traits, change. And water has a lot of memory. So the previous people, whoever have stayed there, must have used the water, and water always recirculates there only. Okay, so if that happens, then that is why there is a lot of memory. And the native remembers everything in a kind of a raga, okay, and a pattern. He draws patterns for everything. That is his strength. And these people are very good gurus and very good students, both. Okay, so these people can learn a lot of things. These people can teach a lot of things. Both the traits are visible. And how do they do that? They organize meetings, and they understand what is on the other side, and they'll ask them to teach it to these people. They also as well teach back whatever they know. Okay, so how do we use these? Is based on 12 houses, we can use the significations. So the highest marks will go for, or the highest signification will go for the dispositor of a house lord, meaning you want to know about, let us suppose you want to know about the job. So what you do is you find out where your 10th lord is, okay, and see in which Rashi the 10th lord is placed. Find out that lord, okay. Let us suppose it is a Libra Lagna. The 10th lord is Moon. Moon is placed in Pisces, let us suppose. So who is the lord of Pisces? Lord of Pisces is Jupiter. So wherever Jupiter, in which nakshatra Jupiter is placed, based on that, your job will be, okay. This is the first signification you have to pick. Okay. So 10th Lord's Dispositor will give you like 60 to 70% result. Okay. These are arbitrary numbers. Don't just go by just 10. Okay. Uh, so 60, 70 comes from the Dispositor. Maybe another 20, 30 comes from the Cusps. And the last thing is 10% only comes from the Lord. So if you are just seeing, okay, I'm a Libra Lagna, my 10th Lord is in Uttara Bhadra, assuming, okay, Uttara Bhadrapada. So okay, let me look at Uttara Bhadrapada. If you look at that, you're going to fail because most of the significations do not come from your 10th lord. They come from the dispositor of your 10th lord, followed by the cusp of your 10th house. Okay, and then very, very, very meager amount, maybe about 5-10%. Sometimes even that is missing from the lord himself. So what I would say is ignore the Lord, just use the cusp and the dispositor, maybe add a very small flavor of the Lord of the house. But sometimes, yes, the Lord can play a significant role depending on how powerful the nakshatra is. If he is in Swati or if he is in this nakshatra or any of the Purvas for that matter, they influence it a lot. Okay, it also depends on the nakshatra. So we'll get into those intricacies as we complete all the nakshatras. Be a little patient. These are important stuff. So I'm not taking, I'm not compromising on any of this stuff. First house connections, meaning your Lagna Lord Dispositor is in Purvashada. Okay. You have twists and turns in life, a lot of twists and turns. Native has a huge, excellent memory. Okay. And that memory is very patterned. He's going to draw patterns and is absolutely great in that. He's known as a stubborn, rigid, who's shouting a lot because in the previous nakshatra is Niruti. Mula is Niruti. So the person does not shout at all. How do we use these is if the timing of the person is, 99.99% of the times, people report a birth time which is at least 15 minutes off. At least 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, it may so happen that it can fall in Mula or it can also fall in Purvashada. Based on how the person is, you can actually correct it. If it's in Mula, the person does not shout. He actually makes a compromise with life. However, Purvashada does not make any compromise. He has enormous hope. Okay. Everything is wrong in his life, still the person is very hopeful that most of the things will change for him because he is doing a lot of hard work and hard work will pay is the mindset of the person. And that's why he's strong because willpower is something which you cannot beat. Okay. And a lot of pujas, religious work, or maybe meeting gurus or a lot of stuff he would keep doing. Okay. And because he thinks it generates a lot of hope inside. So native start some work, they take a break, and then redo, and then there is a break, and then restart. This happens, not once but many times. Many times marriage is delayed. However, you always have to use, the dispositor and the cusp and the Lord, all three, right? So dispositor, let's suppose is here, then you look for the cusp of the first house, very easy. And you look for the Lord of the first house, very easy. If everything shows that there is a problem in the marriage, it doesn't get married, all of them are in the Brahmacharya Nakshatras, then yes, marriage may not be possible. However, you also have to use planets and see there are yogas for Brahmacharya. You can check them. You also have to see the D9 chart and then check it. So it may so happen that the person got married and the wife walked upon him in about 2 days. So it can also be a Brahmacharya yoga, but there is a marriage and a failure. Even that is possible to time. Um and believe me, it comes very accurately. Okay, one is marriage may be delayed, and then separation in marriage for the first couple of years, or maybe an overseas opportunity comes up. The person leaves the family, goes there, builds him up, calls the family there, unites once again. Even that is possible, or may not like the job there, come back here into India, unites once again with the family, and that's when the kids are born. Okay, very fertile people. Even if they get operated right for family planning, sometimes the family planning fails and the kids are born once again. Okay, I know a chart, Leo Lagna. The Jupiter is placed in the fifth house in Purvashada. Okay, she had a child, the first child, and she got family. I mean, operated for family planning, and she got pregnant again after 20 years because the operation failed. And you know why? Because the Purvashada is highly fertile. Why it is highly fertile? Because it has got water, it has got the heat from the sun because it's a fire sign, and there is enough support from everything else. Fire and water is going to make the person very fertile. Okay, and water, fire, and water. It's ruled by Jupiter. One is fire, one is in the other one, the water. All right. Or it is the dharma thing. So unless you have children, you cannot have your dharma correct. Okay. So very fertile people, constantly learning in life, and they want to meet other departmental heads and constantly understand whether it is going correctly or not. Should we have to change our strategy? What is the achieved value? It can be anything. Could be a technical value that they are looking about, or the revenue itself. And they want to make success as fast as possible. And they want to understand the experience of the people. If there is a new change is being driven into the company, they'll sit down and say, look, we have rolled out a change the last year, and you've been working on this project for so many days. Is there a feedback for me on the rollout that we made? And any feedback they want to carefully note down and ask a lot of questions, and get to see that the people are comfortable. Okay, and excellent strategists. Okay, and when you have afflictions of the eighth house, sixth house, etc., then you have kidneys or urinary tract issues, or the native can be an extremist as well. Okay, because you look at the Nazis, or any Holocausts for that matter, even on the Japanese side, the Nanking, or the Bangladeshi thing, any terrorist thing that you can look at, to cleanse or to purify, that only our creed remains and everybody else would die. If somebody has such aspirations, it's all related to this nakshatra, because these people would want to win. Okay? Visiting water, swimming pools, waterfalls, oceans, rivers, seas, beaches, all that. Okay, very successful people who are they're perceived as successful at a very young age. Okay, and they display huge capabilities at a very young age, and they're very adamant, arrogant, headstrong, do not want to be questioned. Okay, this is a very good trait. You immediately identify his Purvashada. You ask him a question where it question or challenges his intent, or maybe quizzes him whether he did the right thing or not, then he would be very furious on us. Okay. Second thing is, second house connections can bring you dental issues, very good earning, very good oratory skills, and also some writing skills. Alcohol, just for the sake of showing it to people that he's a royal person. For that sake, he would be drinking alcohol in front of 10 people, maybe, just to pomp and show that, look, the kind of brand I'm drinking, nobody else has got it. This is what I drink usually, just to show as a pomp. Okay. And very aggressive personality, third house. Okay, because third house would make the real aggression come from third house. So not afraid at all, very highly hopeful, stubborn, successful because of the stubbornness, and he believes strongly something and he would stand for it. And fourth house, what I have seen is Ganga, right? The deity here is Ganga. It is like the Ashlesha. Not very sure if I've covered this in Ashlesha or not. So you can make a note. What is distinct in case of Aslesha and this one is if the fourth house connections are there to Aslesha or the first house even. So okay, even the first house is Aslesha, uh, or the first house is Purvashada. We get to see the mother's story, right? In Aslesha, there is mother's story. Also, here it is the mother's story. Because Bhishma was taken away by Ganga for the first few years of his life till he became an adult. She took care of him and she nurtured him with all the vidya that a person can learn in case of warfare. He's got the best of the gurus, and his mother was very, very powerful. Everybody knows about Ganga. The name Ganga is heard all across India. And maybe a few people must have not heard who is Shantanu, right? Ganga, everybody would hear. So the mother is more famous. That can be one option. Second is mother is very strict, haughty, headstrong. That can be another option. Third can be the father is missing in life, could be because of death of father, or father is working elsewhere and the mother is actually managing the whole stuff. Or the mother and father had a pact wherein they could not accommodate each other, and one of the people moved away. So there is either a single mother or a single father, or the father does not care much about the domestic things. I mean, he does not care how the kids are or what they are doing, etc. And the mother actually takes care of the children too much. Okay, all these are traits if they get connected to the first house or the fourth house. Okay, because it's the story of the mother, and the person can be an advisor of real estate or automotive, because Bhishma has always won over a lot of kingdoms. Kingdom would mean real estate and automotive as well. And buying a home can be delayed sometimes when you have the fourth house significations here, because the native has got a huge list of requirements for him. And because even the Ganga, when she met Shantanu and when he wanted to marry Ganga laid down so many conditions. These are all the conditions that you have to meet if I have to stay with you. So list of conditions is a Purvashada. So if the conditions are not met, the person is going to not take a decision, delay it, or maybe take a decision and leave. In case of marriage, taking a decision and leaving. In case of home, the decision is delayed because the right home has not come up. Okay. The native is fertile. So, as I said, one of the examples which I've just quoted, that is one. So even after a family planning operation happens, still then the person has got children, because if the operation failed, and it happens one in million, it is one of them. Um, And what happens is when this the native is born, or when there is a childbirth, especially in case of fifth house, when there is a childbirth, there is a separation, because the moment Bhishma was born, there is a separation of mother and father. They had to live in different cities. So this same thing can happen for this also, for this native as well, wherein the native has fifth house connections. The moment there is a childbirth, there is a transfer for the spouse or the lady herself. Okay. Sixth house connections, the natives' opponents are very big. They're very powerful because Ganga is very powerful. So the opponents are very big. The opponents are like gurus who can teach, because Bhishma is Bhishma because of Ganga. She has nurtured him to divinity. I mean, he is one of those respected individuals across the whole Kuru dynasty. So anything you have to refer to, then always you go back to Bhishma and ask him. Even Krishna used to visit Bhishma because he is a Dharma Murti. He could he knew a lot of things. Even Krishna learned a lot of things. I mean, although we would say Krishna is the the guru, I mean, there is a vice versa thing. Krishna learned a lot of things from Bhishma. Bhishma learned a lot of things from Krishna. So that is why I say that the person will learn and will teach both. Delay in marriage, seventh house. 99% of the times I've seen delay in marriage, seventh house connections. I repeat, if you're just making seventh lord and seeing that, I've got Purvashada, seventh lord connections, my seventh lord is in Purvashada, may not be true. Your seventh lord dispositor is the first thing that you have to look for. Okay. Married life issues for the first few years, separation. I mean, if the marriage lasted for the first 5 years, then there is no problem. Okay. Or there's a contractual marriage, there's a lot of conditions in the marriage, and the native has to obey those conditions. If they are not met, then maybe there is a separation. But for such things of separation, etc., always look at the Navamsha. Always look at the other planets of the D1 as well. Everything will show towards a separation, and even the Dasha will show that there is a separation. Only then there is a separation. Otherwise, the separation is delayed, okay, till the Dasha operates. Okay. You get to see some people, right, who get to a divorce at 50th year or maybe 60 years after having stayed together for 30 years or 40 years. That we will deal with in the next nakshatra, that is the Uttarashada. Okay. Eighth house, inheritance is delayed. Wife's parents are stubborn, successful. I've given whatever that came up to my mind. There can be a lot of things that I have missed out. As I've given you the concept, please read the concept and understand. The father is stubborn, successful, twists and turns in life. This is a common pattern, okay? Twists and turns in life. Suddenly life changes, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad, as I said, okay? Or late marriage for the father or the native. 10th house connections, you have the job or the business. Like I said previously, a job came up very early in life. When the family is in poverty, this native has lifted up the people from the poverty. However, he suddenly lost interest or something happened, the career went south or downwards. He's lost everything. And then once again, he would rebuild. And he would go this time double than what he has achieved previously. Okay. And because the aspirations are very high for this person, and he's a very hopeful person. No matter how much ever down he goes, he's going to rise up once again at double speed and double height. Okay. He could be someone who is a spy or making formulas, assistant to CEO, understanding how the departments are functioning, strategizing the things for CEO or the CEO himself, some secrets, non-disclosure agreements, everything he is holding. He does not like to do a routine work. He will delegate all the routine works to somebody who has very good knowledge of those things. It's a difficult to work under these people because they create a huge pressure on the workforce. Siblings may be stubborn or delayed marriage for siblings, or siblings may have remained unmarried. These are the things for the 11th house. 12th house is changing countries frequently. Expenses are not controlled. No matter what you do, my expenses are not being controlled. Or there are so many secret enemies continuously plotting against me. Spying and secret formulas to be part of person's job. All these are the significations that we have for Purva Ashada. Anybody has any feedback, you are welcome now. Open up your mics and you can talk. Anybody has any feedback, you may let me know, please. I can't hear you.
Sir, I have a chart
Okay.
which belongs to Punarvasu Lagnam
Okay.
with Mars, Saturn, Sun, Ketu, and Mercury in Pisces, and Jupiter in Purvashada.
Okay.
This native is born with Kakatsa, that is congenital anomaly of kidney and urinary tract.
Oh.
As his parents or doctors. He was diagnosed when he was around 1 year of age, and he got operated for it, and his kidneys are safe right now. But if they didn't diagnose him, he would have landed up in kidney failure, and he would have died by this time.
Okay. Can you please repeat those planets in the Pisces that you said? Sun, Mercury, Saturn. Am I right?
And Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Mars, and Ketu.
Okay. So you have the eighth lord, seventh lord, eighth lord as well, which is important for the purification of kidneys. So these two are the houses that will be there. So the dispositor of the dispositor of the eighth lord in the sixth house. Okay, just be careful with such combinations. A lot of people are thinking these are Viparita Raj yogas and stuff like that. Please don't fall for those. Anything that gets eighth connected to the sixth house, always be careful. There can be a problem with the health of the person if the Lagna Lord is not well placed. Where is the moon?
Moon is in Aradra, sir.
Moon is in the 12th house, right?
No, sir. It's in first house.
It's in the first house. Okay. So moon in
Aradra
the
third.
okay, moon in the first house. Okay. Okay. So the dispositor of the moon of the first, I mean to say the first lord is in conjunction with the eighth lord, and the dispositor is in the sixth lord. So even that is bad, right?
Yes.
First lord is in conjunction with the eighth lord. The dispositor is in the sixth
Dispositor in
house.
seventh house, sir.
Oh, seventh house. Okay. 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 Get it. Okay.
And this man is very stubborn, sir. And he don't want to work under in single hospital. He always wants to change the hospitals. These are the few findings which I observed. And moreover, in his marital life, he is not married, but for every bride, he is keeping conditions to come to US and to crack USMLE. So no one is accepting him.
Okay.
These are the few findings which I observed.
I think everything is matched up.
Sir?
I think everything is matched. Whatever we talked
Everything,
about.
yes, everything is matched. But he's healthy right now. He's healthy.
These strong people, they're healthy. Yeah.
If his mother didn't diagnose him, he would have
Yeah.
kidney
So,
failure. But
so strong
he's
mother. Strong mother is another trait. Okay. Good.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes, sir.
So sixth lord, eighth lord both got conjunction. Okay. Mars and Saturn are together, and the dispositor is in the seventh house. Okay. Seventh house also will deal with the kidneys. Seventh, eighth houses.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone else?
Sir, I have my friend has Taurus ascendant, Rohini ascendant, Moon, Mars, and Saturn, 8th house. Moon is definitely in Purvashada. Mars and Saturn, I have to check. In fact, she's a Tamilian, and her father also practiced astrology, I believe, and he also says to her, it seems, Poradam illamal Poradam illai, something like that. Which means without struggle, there's no
life. Yeah.
there's no Purvashada. So she's constantly, like many of the characteristics you mentioned, it's matching with her. Like she is very headstrong and stands up for her beliefs. Whatever her beliefs are, she stands up. She's religious, hopeful, adamant, arrogant, but not in a very bad way. Like I think it comes mostly from knowing that she's capable, and she cannot tolerate like others who are not as capable as her. So she has that feeling of arrogance, not just to belittle somebody, not like that.
Correct.
And even she got married little bit late only comparatively to Indian standards, I would say, and 1 year of separation from husband due to work overseas.
Right. Okay.
And I myself have 7th Lord Purvashada. It is retrograde and delay in marriage for me.
Okay. I'm just wondering. So you said the previous chart, Taurus is the ascendant, and you have Moon in the Purvashada. That's what you said.
Moon is definitely in Purvashada in 8th house, but Moon is conjunct with Mars and Saturn. Mars and Saturn, I'm not sure whether exactly they're in Purvashada or in Moola, I'm not sure. But Moon is in Purvashada.
This woman is a very revolutionary woman. Okay, she can bring up a lot of revolution in life. So the Mars and the Saturn in the 8th house. So maybe you have to advise her not to be very revolutionary. Krantikari nahi banna.
Yes, I always say she just takes unnecessary panga with people, you know. I just
Yes,
say,
yes.
calm down, please.
Yeah, yeah. And it is actually played up with the Purvashada moon. And the first lord, you might think this is just a Venus's house, but moon's Mula Trikona is also in Taurus. So half of the Taurus is ruled by moon. So Lagna Lord is in 8th house. You can take it like that. She may be constantly thinking somebody is plotting against me. You know, I have to unless I stop them, they will mere pe havi ho jayenge. I mean, they're going to rule over me. So let me just before they come up to me, let me just be a revolutionary. Okay, maybe if
Yeah,
you know her,
I think that's the thing. Yeah, probably like she feels that before they attack me, I should
attack
attack or
me, I
something.
have to attack. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Yeah. நம்ம அட்டாக் பண்ணலன்னா அவங்க வந்து அட்டாக் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. So let us do that. This is what
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, I have a chart. The Lagna is a Dhanishta, and then Saturn is in Bharani, and Saturn dispositor Mars in Purvashada.
Okay.
So he is like a lot of twists and turns, highly emotional, unnecessarily emotional, but gives very good advices. Everything is good, very highly knowledgeable and everything. But the thing is, he could not do anything good with his own life. But he's thinks like 200 years ahead. So kind of knowledge. Rahu is there in Lagna. So, but still he's really good in giving advices, understanding others. Even if we go in front of and talk, he'll get our intention.
Right.
Like whatever we are saying, he could scan us. But the thing is, always ready for fights. And unnecessarily, no one is there to go with him and talk to him. Why unnecessarily we should get into fights? And he always says attack is the best form of defense. So before even he doesn't care what's other person's situation or his mental status, whether they are in turmoil, trouble, or anything.
Right.
So yeah, that rude or hurting talk always, and complaining. If
Right.
he is in trouble, he complains everyone. It's because of you, because of you, because of you, like that. If he is safe, he says that you guys doesn't have brains. So you guys don't have brain and you talk like that. But very rude talk and picking up fights all the time with people around him, and it need not be enemies, family members, parents, siblings. Yeah, so
He
that's
would pick up fights only with friends. Okay. He
yeah,
would
he
pick up.
seems nice to the I mean,
Yeah.
just acquaintances and all those who know him well. Yeah, he's
Fight
really
only with.
getting fights. Yeah, yeah, and always trying to put them down with his words. So people really don't like to go with
Yeah.
him in talk.
We've
Yeah,
discussed this chart previously also. So you said Dhanishta is the Lagna's plus, and the Lagna Lord Saturn is in Bharani. Okay, and then
yeah, retrograde.
and you have the dispositor of Saturn placed in Purvashada. So Dhanishta is also ruled by Bhishma, and Saturn is placed in Bharani, which is ruled by Yama. Yama is unmarried, Bhishma is unmarried. Again, Purvashada here, so unmarried. So this person remained unmarried, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So why I said this is because this is how you connect. And then you also get into the planets. Once you get into the planets, you will have even clearer idea. And then you get into D9, even you get a further more idea. Okay, so this person never married is what you can declare. Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. And I have one more chart with the 6th and 7th lord dispositor. It's a Leo Lagna and Makha, and Saturn is in retrograde in the Lagna itself, in Makha. And the dispositor sun is Purvashada. So the 6th and 7th lord dispositor is in Purvashada, sir. So he's still a teenager. So, but what I said is 6th lord. So you said urinary tracts and all, right? Diseases. So till now he got 2 surgeries regarding his private organs.
Okay.
Yeah, like urinary tract, the inguinal hernia. Though he's small, like toddler and all, and one is for circumcision and also, yeah, some diseases related to urinary tract and private organs.
Any other feedback?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have got a chart.
Okay.
So the ascendant is in Rohini and her moon is in Revati, and moon is sitting with Saturn and Ketu, and the dispositor of moon goes into 8th house, which is Jupiter, and it is posited over there in Purvashada. And
Okay.
she got operated for stones, gallbladder stones, and also she has got fatty liver of stage 2. She is not too old. She is about 28, 29 years of age, and constantly worried about getting married. But still, she has seen about 5 boys, but still they have not been. I mean,
She
her
also
family.
she also has dental issues. If it is Revati and
No,
okay.
no dental issues. No,
There is a
Venus.
let me complete the sentence. There is a dental issue. Okay, go back and ask her. There is a dental issue.
Okay.
Unless she is treated for it, getting married is difficult.
She's one of my best friends. I don't think she has any dental issues,
And
but yes, she.
as I tell you, go back, ask her. There is a dental problem. If it is not there, maybe in the next few weeks it will come. The moment
Oh,
she gets operated or she gets addressed for it, there is a marriage. Okay.
oh,
Okay.
nice. So she's worried from a long time, long time.
There is something already, is what I think.
Yes, she is in. I mean, she is in
No,
love
I
with a
mean to
boy.
say, there is something wrong with the teeth already. Maybe she
Oh,
needs a cap or something, or maybe some cavity
okay,
has to be filled. There is something, okay? You go back and
okay,
ask her. For sure
okay.
it is.
I'll ask. But whatever you said, yes, she also got fatty liver. She also got operated for the stone. So
Okay.
nice.
What are all the planets you said along with the Revati, the moon, and
Yeah, she has got Revati moon with Saturn and Ketu. Ketu is in Revati, Saturn is in Pisces in Uttar Bhadrapada.
she has so it means that she has a పిప్పు పన్నుని ఏమంటారండి? What is that? Just a second. There's not, somebody else can help.
Charistic, sir.
Not the doctor's language, general language, please. What is that?
Tooth decay, tooth decay, sir.
Decay tooth. Yeah, decay.
Decay tooth.
Yeah.
Okay,
Decay
I'll
tooth.
surely ask her, but I
Yeah.
don't know right now. I don't think
Yeah.
she has because I know her very well.
I'm
But
very
it's
sure she
fine.
has. Come back in the next
Okay,
class.
I'll update in the next class.
Please do.
But sir, her 8th lord looks very strong, being 8 in 8 in Purvashada.
Okay. This is your first class, right?
Yes, this is my first class. I
So,
have been watching
yeah.
the YouTube video.
So my first advice to all the students is do not think Swakshetra planets are going to give you good results. Okay, this is the first lesson one has to learn. Second lesson is exalted planets definitely will give you good results. This also is false. Third lesson, all debilitated planets will give you bad results. This is also false, especially in the D1 chart. All your Swakshetras, exaltations, Nicha or debilitations are all useless in the D1 chart. Do not even bother which planets are in Swakshetra, which planets are in exaltation, which planets are in debilitation in your D1 chart. Forget them. The only difference it makes now for me is, now you see, I'll come back to your question. The Lagna is in the Rohini, the eighth lord is in the eighth house. Eighth house deals with the excretory system and kidneys. Because the eighth lord is in Purvashada, also eighth lord dispositor is in Purvashada, she is definitely going to get the urinary tract issues or the kidney stone issue or the gallbladder issue or anything. For sure. Okay. Now, why this is why this is a stone issue is because of the moon and the Saturn. Okay, moon and Saturn in the 11th house are making salt, which is not able to be released out by the urinary tract. Now, if you observe in D9 and you also observe the D3, and then you look it into D30, you'll be able to understand कितना size का stone आया वो भी बोल सकते हैं. Okay, what is the size of the stone that came out? Even that can be predicted. Good. Anybody else?
And, yes, sir. And also, I have a few charts with Purvashada. One common trait, different dispositors, houses
Yeah.
dispositors. One common trait I've seen is the stubbornness.
Yeah,
Stubbornness and don't want to be questioned.
correct.
Yeah, depending on, some will argue, some will shout, some will scream, some will attack others, but some will keep calm and do not come to you if we ask questions. They don't want to entertain the other person if they ask questions, or just try to get into deep. Why did you do it? That what's going on? What's happening? So they don't like all these things.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the common trait I have seen.
Good.
Yes, sir, the chart we discussed earlier, and she is also very headstrong and she doesn't want to listen to anyone.
Because as I said, the moon is also the first lord, because moon's Mula Trikona is in Taurus, so moon happens to be the first lord. And more importantly, if you observe, each Rashi has a difficult planet as far as health is concerned. Okay, like Venusian Lagnas, Jupiter is a bad planet. So Lagna Lord placed in those signs, if the eighth Lord is very powerful, it means that there is a disease. These are simple shortcuts that can be covered up. That can be tallied once again in the D9. Okay, so when you have the moon in the Revati, it means that it's the Jupiterian sign with a Venusian Lagna. So similarly, for Martian signs, Mercury is a bad planet, and Mercurian signs, Mars is a bad planet. That way, you have to actually take out what are the wrong planets. And for Saturnine, you have Moon and Sun. These two are difficult planets. Not every time it's the sixth house. Okay, not every time it's because if you look at Taurus Lagna, the sixth house is the Lagna Lord himself. So first and sixth house are automatically connected. So anything wrong happens with the eighth house. If the eighth house is very strong, it means that there is a disease. These are such kind of shortcuts which we can talk about after the nakshatras are over. We'll talk about blank charts. In that, we can understand what is the power of each lagna. Then we will talk about planets alongside that.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, could you explain a bit more about this concept you mentioned about fire and water? Did you mean that just for the Sagittarius sign or particularly this nakshatra?
Can you give a little more context? What did I say?
I think for this nakshatra you mentioned it is fire and water, both the elements are together. Maybe with regard to the fertility element also you said, and also
Okay, got it.
yeah.
Okay. So, Dharma, right? Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, everybody heard of this word. Our Sanatana Dharma is dependent on fire and water. Without water, you cannot do any ritual. You do Sandhya Vandana in the morning. If you are a Brahmin, you would know it. If you do not know it, just Google up what is Sandhya Vandana. You need to do Sandhya Vandana and also do a fire ritual every day as a Brahmin. These days, not anybody is doing a fire ritual. Maybe you can count upon your fingers whoever are left doing a fire ritual, constantly burning fire at home. There is a reason for it because you cannot borrow fire, and there is no matchbox, there is no lighter in those days in the Vedic times. So when you are born with a fire at home. The kid is going to continue that fire, and when the father passes away, the kid is going to throw away the father into the fire of the house itself. Okay, these were the traditions that people used to keep what long back when the Sanatana Dharma started. So for our dharma to prosper, okay, dharma means daily duty is called as dharma. It does not mean that doing a puja to Shiva or doing a puja to Sai Baba or any of that is not called as actual dharma. The dharma is doing the right time, doing the right work at the right time. For that, you need two things. One is fire, the other one is water. Because for you to do things, you need food. For food, the first thing that you would need is fire. Either you're a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, you need fire to cook your food. The moment you cook your food, you need some water along with the food. So as long as food and water are available, the dharma will run. What is dharma? Dharma is to live righteously, produce children righteously, and tell them good habits, train them, get into the samsara sagara. That is the dharma. Okay. So Jupiter rules two houses. One is a fire sign, the other one is a water sign. So he keeps up the dharma. The second person who rules these two signs is Mars. He rules the first house and the eighth house. First house is fire sign. The eighth house is the water sign. So after Jupiter, the most religious person is Mars, which a lot of people do not know. When we talk about planets, right, we will talk about it. So what is dharma? It means that the work that has to be done in time. That is dharma. Am I clear, or did you get what I say?
Yeah, I understood. Yeah, thank you for that explanation. Just one more clarification. So did you mean this for the planet Jupiter or for the sign or for the nakshatra of Purvashada?
Okay.
I mean,
I
planet
meant,
Jupiter definitely because it is
yeah,
9th
I
and
meant
12th,
it.
I understood.
I meant it for both. Okay. Purvashada
Okay.
is in the sign of fire sign, and Purvashada is ruled by Apas. Apas means water. So a nakshatra which is placed in a fire sign is ruled by water would mean having both of them, fire and water, which are
So would
essential for the growth of living beings.
okay.
That
So
is
could we say even Bharani is that way because it is also
yes,
fire and water?
yes, fire and water. Bharani is just one part of water. That is the placenta. That we are in the mother's womb, right? We are in the placenta. The liquid that is in the mother's womb in which we are swimming, that is Bharani. So it's a very small amount of water.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you.
But Apas is something which represents all of the water on the earth, or even in the cosmic anywhere in the space. It's all Apas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because of all the fire signs, Jupiterian Sagittarius is the most strongest. When you open up Bruhat Parashara Hora Shastra, right, just read the first chapter. Deepanshagiri will always keep saying, just read the first chapter very well. You are the best Jyotisha. So I actually admired that person for that one single sentence, because I've kept on reading a lot of books, this and that, but never had an understanding of the first chapter for a long time. Although I knew a few things, I never had an orderly way of learning things. So I threw away everything and said, okay, let me just read the first chapter. It took like 4 years or 5 years for understanding the first chapter. And after that, you don't have to read anything else. Just read the first chapter. And of the first chapter, what we are trying to do is, in the first chapter itself, Parashara mentions each of the nakshatra is ruled by these deities. So what we have done is, I tried to search upon the deities, and then I stumbled upon the nakshatras. Then I understood those, and then actually I brushed up everything, put everything into perspective. It's not that I've not been predicting for long. I've been predicting for quite long. But once the nakshatras, whole thing was very clear after having coded everything with the evolution of YouTube. A lot of people have posted. Even now, you can go into Arjun Pai thing, Vic Dekara thing. But the only problem is they don't give you the whole stuff. They'll teach you the concept. Maybe you have to pull out a lot of things. That's what I did, and put everything in perspective to be useful to people. Otherwise, it's only the concepts that they teach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Anybody else?
one more question.
Yes.
So you said that Purvashada natives do the things religiously. What do you
Correct.
mean by that exactly?
As I said, so
Uh,
dharma means doing the right thing at the right time. Religious, if you go into the dictionary of what is religiously, it would say doing the right thing at the right time is what is displayed.
and does it also mean doing things bookishly or by the book or by the law?
Yeah, that's what it would mean also. Yes. So
Okay.
anything against the law or anything what is agreed upon, because Ganga Devi has agreed upon a few things with Shantanu Raja. When Shantanu failed to do those things, failed to abide by what has been agreed, Ganga left him. Okay. Now you can say this is a bookish thing because Ganga laid down a kind of rules. They made a pact and a paper exists for it. And the once the law is broken, it's over. Okay.
Sir, I just remembered from your lecture you mentioned that they are into spying or keeping secrets or something like that, right? I could relate to it with my friend's example. Like she'll always watch all this detective kind of series,
Mhm.
law and order series, all those things like obsessively.
Yeah. Crime punishment is what they would watch.
Yeah, crime shows, punishment, all those.
Mm. Correct. And they also hold why the kidneys thing I have told or this nakshatra represents is kidneys are not visible outside and their job is purification. If you look at the kidney, if you look at the anatomy of the human body and look at the kidney, you would never believe that this kidney can do such a kind of filtration. You know, it's too difficult to believe it. And kidney can hold such things. Or it is the eighth house thing actually, but it happens in the ninth house. Kidney is connected to the eighth house, right? You ask anyone, whoever learns astrology, they will say kidneys are in the eighth house. But kidneys are in the Purvashada. That's in the ninth house.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, these are concepts that need little time to actually settle down into the brain. So at the outset, it might look like I'm actually, getting you into wrong side. But your examples have proved time and again that the nakshatra significations are actually influencing the whole stuff clearly, without any doubt. So, why people keep coming back to the lecture is because nakshatras are the most powerful, which I have said in the first class. Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, I see Dattatreya picture in that. You have not mentioned anything about that.
Guru, okay, teaching, guru.
That means 10th Lord Dispositor or something related to six. I mean,
So the person can be teacher and a student both. Dattatreya has learned so many things and taught so many things.
Oh, okay. Also, what is the significance of those symbols, sir? You have shown those fan and hand pan, and then.
I've explained those things. Did you miss the first part?
No, I am there, but in general, so in our life, suppose if there is a Purvashada dominating horoscope, I mean the native. So then, how come? Yeah.
I got it. So as I said, elephant's tusk. I gave you the significations here. Stronger tusks, the more leader. So this man is a big leader. He will not accept anybody else to be a leader. Okay. There are dental problems. Okay. So the gentleman who he discussed about gave me the horoscope of a person who has got a Rohini Nakshatra and got the moon in the Revati. Revati is also dental problems. Okay. So I said dental problems. That's why. And the dispositor again is in dental problems. So there has to be a dental problem for sure. If not today, maybe as we talked just now, it can even come up in a week or 10. Or once that happens, if there is a dental issue connected to the 8th, 11th house, unless it is cleared off, the marriage is difficult. That's why I said that.
Sir, I'm related to that, sir, dental problem. Actually, I belong to Jeshta Lagna with Rahu in Purvashada. I have fracture of my tooth when I'm so young, when I'm 10 years old.
So for the fracture of your thing to happen, you also have to connect it to Uttarashadha. Okay, the second house Cusp is in the Uttarashadha, right?
Yes, sir.
No. Okay. And
It's
you
not
also
because
have,
of Purvashada. So it's
it
not
can
because of Purvashada.
it can be even for Purvashada also. I'm coming to all that. Wherever elephant's tusks are there, right? You have dental problems. And also you have Revati. There also is dental problems. So when your second house things connects to all of this, then there is more issues. Or even the first house connects to all of these, more issues of dental.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, winnowing basket, as I said, something which is about the filtering of things, right? The winnowing basket, what do? You remove off all the dirt in the grains. So that is about the kidneys which are constantly filtering. Okay. Hand fan, the person is actually very working very hard, so he needs a fan to relax, take a break, and then get back to work. Another hand fan is the person has got very aggressive. He fought with 10 people. He has to sit down, calm, relax, and then get ready for the next fight. Okay, these are the significations. I explained this at the start. I'm not very sure if you did not follow.
No, sir, I got it. And also I could see that those all people for Purvashada, I see those natives have distinct of taking these breaks, this particular trait also, not doing one thing in one go and all. I know, sir. So I'm sorry, I'm not clear in my question. So what I meant to say is, I heard somewhere like, if you have the prominent star in your horoscope, then putting those pictures on wallpapers or phone things, that will help you make strengthen those, or that could do good to you kind of stuff with these animals and all these symbols. So is it true? Does that work in that way?
Okay, good. You're talking about the flashcards, which Arjun Pai keeps mentioning. They will work. However, you have to be clear of is it the nakshatra level problem or not?
Oh,
I mean, remedies come at the very last. You have to first understand the signification,
oh,
identify
okay.
where the problem is. Because if you go to a doctor, what does he do? He will diagnose first. If your diagnosis is excellent, you're going to get a medicine because the disease will be identified at the diagnosis. So somebody approaches us, our focus should be on, what the problem is. Is it the nakshatra level problem? Is it a planet level problem? Is it dasha level problem? Then decide on a remedy. Yes, nakshatra level remedies will work for sure, but you have to be sure what actually is the problem. Sometimes, like this man has mentioned, eighth lord in the eighth house should be a very good placement. Why there is a problem? Yeah, I would say it's the eighth lord problem, eighth lord eighth house problem, rather than going anywhere else. It's a straight Jupiter problem, straight Purvashada problem. So give him the Purvashada remedy. Make the mother do a puja to mother, respect mother. Okay, those are the kind. If the person is disrespecting mother, then he will have more problems in life. Okay, I mean these are subtle things that one has to look at which sphere of life is actually afflicted. From there, you can give the remedy. I would say remedies will come at the very last. So for you to talk about remedy, the word even remedy will come maybe after 1.5 years, not today. Don't jump into remedies right now. You will actually
No,
lose.
sir. I don't know that these are remedies because I've been in some YouTubes and all. In general, they are saying like that. Go for your. It's in the Hindi YouTube channels I have seen. So that's my question. Does it work or
What
like?
does work mean? Work means what?
No. Suppose, let me explain. So I think I didn't explain it properly. I don't mean to jump onto remedies or something like that. What I meant is, suppose if you see that you have prominent, some Purvashada in your chart, like so many dispositors, I mean, one lord dispositing so many planets in Purvashada. So he said that, even he doesn't say that, he said Janma Nakshatra or your Nakshatra is this, then if you put this one, then it would be good for you or something like that. So
That's
my
the
question
remedy.
is that,
Good
is
for
the
you remedy, right? What does good for you mean?
maybe bring luck or something like, or you come across those items in your life a lot? So actually what I meant to ask is, what is the significance? So I know you have explained it. So my question is that, will that be also related to like this? Will it be related? Like if you put those fan all the time, will it give some kind of, whatever problems you have? You said rude, and they are, suppose second lord is there, they're
You're
talking
asking the
rude or
remedy.
something.
So it's all about the remedy.
Oh,
Then you always said it's a remedy, right?
yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. Now making sense. Yeah.
You're asking about the
Yeah.
remedies. Remedy can be given or a medicine can be given only if we know what is the disease.
Okay. So we can't generalize with just nakshatra, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sir. Got it.
For now, for generic remedies, if you think you have identified the issue, you can go for this remedy, but you have to be very sure. Otherwise, you are actually aggravating your problem. How can you do that?
Yeah. Got it, sir. Now making more sense.
Sir, is there any nakshatras other than Purvashada which are associated with the kidney diseases, kidney and urinary tract diseases?
There are.
Okay.
There are.
Will you please name them?
What we will do is after we finish up all the nakshatras, right? It will be mentioned. You have to carefully pick.
Okay. Okay.
What we will do all this, complete everything, and then talk about a few things of the planets and other things. We will come into diseases, location of disease, how do we identify disease and all that. Be a little patient. Maybe after 6-7 months, we will talk about disease in detail.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, my Sun and Mercury in Purvashada in third house. My father have disease, kidney disease, stones in kidney.
Okay, ninth lord is in the third house. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Ninth lord is in. Okay, ninth lord.
Today I faced a lot of connection internet issues too. I don't know why.
Okay. Achha. Where is Jupiter?
Jupiter in Ashwini.
Okay. Okay, I think it's time now. Let's break. Let's meet once again in the next week. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.